All right, so I got this new Weathertech cargo mat to put in the bed of my truck. Problem is, it came in that box, which is about 6 feet tall, and it's all rolled up. So I'm gonna try to have to unroll this thing in my garage, maybe weight it down with some weights overnight, see if that flattens it out enough that I can put it in tomorrow. See here, when it's curled up, there's gonna be these little Velcro tabs that stick down. And then this Velcro, which seems pretty solid, is going to be what secures this mat into place. So you can see the Velcro there. This will stick down so that once you stick it in, it should stay in its spot. And there you can see there's some more. I'm going to finish unrolling this and weighting it down. I've put it into the corner so that I can put the fold up that goes in the fold of the bed. This will fold up against the back of the cab from the bed. And so I've made sure that fold is there. I've positioned these weights so that they're not crushing any of the little ridges here, and that should fit into the bed pretty darn well. So I've got this Weathertech mat flattening out. I want to let it flatten overnight. I might even hit the edges with the heat gun a little bit where it's folded up here and here. That I had in my previous Tundra that I sold to my daughter and my son-in-law, it had a Toyota mat in the back here. Now, the thing I didn't like about the Toyota mat was it was thick. It was really nice. It would serve the same function for letting the water run underneath the mat. But it was very heavy, which I really liked. It was very durable. But what I like better about this one is custom made for these grooves right here. And as it turns out, these grooves right here, when I put my Predator 3500 in here with its wheels on it, it locks into these grooves perfectly back there so that when I transport it, there's no rocking and rolling of that generator at all when it's combined with this bed extender in there the way it is. So when I travel that way, I really like this setup. So I'm going to try to use the Weathertech, which is laser cut to fit these grooves, and we're going to see how that works for us. Now, Weathertech tells you to lay this out flat and upside down to let it kind of flatten out. Ideally in the sun if you can. Now it's February, but fortunately where I live, it's going to be about 70 degrees tomorrow in full sun. So I'm setting this out tonight face up just to get it started a little bit. I might even hit the edges with a heat gun a little bit just to kind of get them a little bit more pliable. But I'm going to let it sit overnight. I'm going to clean out the truck bed tonight, wash it with soap and water, let it dry. And then after it's dry tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and install this. So as I've been using my DeWalt heat gun here, I'm going to show you what this looks like. From a distance, you can see that edge nice and clean. You can see this edge is kind of crinkled, and that's what I'm going to do is I'm just hitting the edges just so it kind of pulls out to its natural shape as this mat sits in the garage overnight. I also ran it up against that back edge right there. Kind of move the weights out of the way, and you can see even after just an hour, it's already holding that shape pretty nicely, so I'm pretty pleased with that. About 20 minutes going around the edge of this with the heat gun, maybe 25 minutes, giving it a much more rounder shape so it fits better when it goes into the bed. And then once I have it into the bed and I've had it secured and everything's down and I'm satisfied, what I'll probably do is run over it with the heat gun again, just to make sure it kind of nicely fits into the weights are off it now. I'm moving away from it. You can see it's still holding the shape real well. I'm gonna go ahead and set this out in the sun for a few hours. Fortunately, we got full sun today, so should heat it up kind of nicely and get it to be just a little bit more uniformly pliable. So as you can see, I've had my Weathertech liner out here in the sun. This is the way Weathertech wants you to do it, is upside down. I, of course, set mine out in the garage with some weights on it to flatten it out. Now I've had it out in the sun for a little while, absorbing some sunshine, making it a little more flexible. And also, when you do it this way, it lets you kind of see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of these Velcro sticking points. I may do some at the front lip up there as well. Add some additional ones that I have, but the bed's already been prepped. I've washed it, it's dried. I'm gonna go ahead and get this liner in it and prep it for these sticky areas, and we're gonna get it set up to go. So there's the mat in there. You can see I haven't stuck it down yet. It's still mobile, but it's fitting in there pretty well. And then what I'm going to do is heat it. Now at the edges here, I'm going to actually heat it so I have just a little bit of a gap in the corner here in the corner here, and then in the front corner there, and the front corner there, but by the cab, because what I want is for the little bit of water that's draining down in those corners from this backflip tonneau, I want it to slide underneath this mat so that water's not on the mat. Now, again, the reason I selected this WeatherTech mat over the Toyota mat that I had previously in my Tundra, in my old Tundra, that Toyota mat was actually nicer, less expensive, more heavy duty, but it doesn't have the grooves here. And so when you put it over, you kind of lost the grooves in the bed, and these grooves in the bed really help stabilize my generator when I travel. The wheels lock into that position really nicely. It comes with these little, you can see the little Velcro sticky here, little Velcro sticky here. I'm gonna start up by the cab to do these little Velcro stickies and work my way back. That's the way they recommend to do it. I've already cleaned the bed out with soap and water, let it dry overnight. So it's all nice and dry. And then there are these little ampules with some sort of sticky reagent to use if you don't have a painted liner, if you have a spray-in liner like I do. If you have a regular liner, they just sent you with these little alcohol swabs to go ahead and clean it. But we're going to use these little sticky ampules and get this stuck down. I think that's going to work best here is I've got this mat in position as to where I want it relative to the cab, or to the bed, excuse me, and relative to the cab. And then what I've done is on one half, I've put these two 45-pound plates so it doesn't slide. And then what I'm going to do is bring it up and I'm going to work this half first, and there are 12 of these, so I'm going to work the 6 on this half, lay it back down, and then the 6 on the other half. I'll show you how I do that. So as you look here, I've got, you can see the white tabs are where the Velcro is, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them exposed, so that's half of them. And so what I'm going to do now is take a piece of chalk and mark where these go, and then move this over into position. All right, so there you can see I've marked 1, 2, 3, 4, and over here 1, 2, up there in the corner in the shade a little bit, but marked them in where we're going to go ahead and stick these things down. So now that I've got all of these peeled away, this area is going to stick to here, and once that sticks to there, I'm going to stand on each of these for about 30 seconds. We're going to start with this row, and then we're going to do the ones at the end. So start here, and then we'll do the ones there. Okay, now that we've done the passenger side, we're going to move over, we're going to do the driver's side. We're going to mark it off where the Velcro will stick down. Go ahead, chalk that, and then stick it down, and then swing this piece over into place as well. All right, so there it is put down. If you look up toward the front of the cab, it's and around the wheel wells, the seams are meeting very nicely. Over here I've got just a little bit of gap. I'm going to push some of this down and in, but I want to leave just a little bit of gap here because this is where the water tends to leak, is from right here, and so I want it to come down underneath the mat. Same thing up in the corner there, that front corner and that front corner. I want it just a little bit away from the wall because that's where it tends to leak at. And after I let this sit for a day, I'll take it through the car wash because we don't have any rain in the forecast for a while, and we'll see how this does from a leaking standpoint. My next step right now is going to be to go to get my heat gun again, and just to kind of push these where the liner's pulling away from the wall a little bit, just a little bit snugger in a couple areas. Is what I'm going to do, mostly around this area right here and this area right here, so both of them behind the rear wheel well there is where I want it snug. Okay, this just got back from the car wash, and this new WeatherTech did exactly what I hoped it would do. If we look at it, here's where the car wash, where it usually drips, and as you can see, it drips right down through there. The little drips you see this way are just as I opened the tonneau up, it created some splashes that direction because I literally just got back from the car wash. The mat itself seems very, very durable. Maybe not quite as much so as the Tundra mat, but that Tundra mat was thicker, and for some odd reason, when Toyota designed that mat, it lays across the top, it fits in the bed fine, but it's not matched to the grooves of the truck bed, which is odd for me since it's a Toyota designed product, and WeatherTech actually makes essentially what is a better fitting product than the Toyota product.